God created some beautiful people, and you're more powerful than the situation, and you are in control. You should also set some boundaries. What's up, kings and queens? I hope you're well. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're here for the first time, I'd appreciate if you would give me a quick subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and let's get rolling. Why do married people still find other people attractive? That's the elephant in the room right now. And you would probably ask yourself, is their spouse not everything that they need? Of course. Finding other people attractive has nothing to do with getting your needs met. You get married to someone, that's awesome. Your emotional needs are getting met, the sex is great. And now that you're getting your needs met, guess what? You're finding someone attractive. You're still going to find other people, and you're going to encounter good-looking people, beautiful people, charming people. And if you're like most people, that part of your brain is going to notice those good-looking people and the charming people, and it wants to pay attention to them. And there may even be parts of your brain that plays that out in your mind. It's still perfectly functional. Now, if your needs are getting met in your marriage, you may not feel motivation to act on your attraction, particularly if you have promised not to act on those and you have a solid relationship and you are a person of integrity. It's like when your stomach is full, you had a delicious meal, it may appeal to you, but the chances are when it comes time for dessert, you'd be like, oh no, I'm stuffed, I'm full. Thank you so much, but the dish really, really looks tasty. I should add that there is a small number of people that do lose interest in other people when they're in a great relationship. I think being in a great relationship helps to keep those things at bay. Perhaps you're one of those people, but most people aren't like that. For them, attraction to other people has nothing to do with their level of satisfaction with their relationship. I would also add that a large number of people are not getting all their emotional needs met, and that's a big deal. It's important that you get your emotional needs met in your relationship, in your marriage, with your partner. They're more likely to be drawn to infidelity because those things aren't being met. It's not because you're not likely, feeling attracted to the other person, but because when they do feel attraction, it pulls them strongly, right? And they gravitate towards people who seem likely to fulfill their unmet needs. It's the needs for intimacy, playfulness, and passion and kindness, and those things that you're not giving. When your stomach is empty, right? It's almost like impossible to turn down something appetizing. You need that food, you need that fuel. And the reasons why some of this happened is, one, you probably didn't keep things interesting at home. You lost your way of thinking about his needs and her needs, which that's a great book, by the way. Attraction can be more than physical. It can be personal driven. It could be one of those things that, you could be so judgmental when he or she shares things with you that when you're judgmental, you're supposed to be his or her best friend, right? For starters, he wants to, take it to you and confide in you because it has to go somewhere. He or she has to tell that. You can't always tell your girlfriends, you can't always tell your homeboy. So you confide in that person who's supposed to be your best friends. And sometimes it often ends up being confided in the person of the opposite sex, which is fine, right? For some people. And then, for some people, that's a problem. That can be a problem. But it shouldn't shock you to learn that your wife or partner may be attracted to the other man or woman, right? You've probably checked out other women or other men, maybe even fantasized about them in the last day or so. But that doesn't mean that the information is easy to digest. And this is, it's a little one-sided on the landscape, right? Because I think many men get put in this area when actually a study showed that 70% of women in relationships admit to having crushes on guys. This is according to research from Indiana University. And sometimes it's as strong as full-on crushes, right? So this is not all about men and what men feel in the midst of this. This is women as well. Included in that study is, women had been in relationships for at least 3 years or so. They answered open-ended questions about their crushes, and we're not talking about like college students. We're talking about mature adults, and many of them were married. The main thing that was learned in this research is that it's totally normal to have feelings for other people. We'd all like to think that the ability to be attracted to someone else vanishes after you take the vows and you say I'm married and you've said your I do's, but it doesn't go away. I mean, why would it? Crushes can continue throughout your lifespan. This is according to the research again, that you don't just have them because you're in a relationship. It's a natural thing. When you're around someone that you like a lot and you develop feelings and other things that they talked about was feeling chemistry or emotional connection with the other guy or girl. Again, which is why it's important that you make it a soft place to land for your partner. Now, 25% of these crushes were on coworkers. I know that comes as a big surprise, right? Exes, close friends, and they were all those were also culprits, right? This is why it's important to me. I feel like it's hugely important that you invite coworkers, friends, to your spouse. You should always be introducing these people, these friends, to the person that you're in a relationship with. Doesn't mean that if they don't introduce them to you that they're gonna cheat or they're bound to be keeping something from you. What better way is there for you to put those things out there to let your spouse know that you care about their feelings and that you're not acting on anything and you're shedding light on the topic. And all of the women who confess to having crushes on the guys, only 5% admitted it, to infidelity. Yes, only 5%, but that's 5% too much for me. And those are the ones that just admit it. Some are going to the grave with it. That's just the human nature of it. If it's so normal to have crushes on other people, but you don't have to lose your spouse, then the trick may be to figure out how to manage your feelings, right? That, to me, is really the big deal. There's no right way to do all of this. It really all depends on what works for you. It depends on knowing your spouse. Some couples can talk openly about their crushes and their obstacles and feelings, but if that's going to cause a hard line and hard feelings, it's probably okay to keep your lips sealed too. Especially when you know your partner or spouse is going to put you through hell over opening up and being transparent. And this is one reason why men go silent, just FYI. One mentor told me a while ago that know your partner, know what you can and can't tell them. You should be able to tell them everything, but no one knows that person better than you. So my advice to you is to talk about it. Discuss it openly with as much detail as you feel comfortable with, because human attraction is natural and you should recognize that it is better to be open and honest about these feelings and deal with the jealousy through reassurance and trust. That's the thing. Or don't. You may feel that it's pointless to discuss a meaningless crush. Keeping it to yourself can be healthy too, if it's gonna keep a pan from going up inside your head. No, I'm just kidding. I don't promote violence. Some people would rather not think about their life partner having, the hots or, thoughts of someone else. And you probably know if your spouse is one of those. If you made it this far in the video, comment below and share with me how you've managed, attraction towards other people or having a crush and dealing with it in your relationship. Here are some other things that I would be considerate of. Being self-aware. If you're finding yourself keep looking at someone and trying to figure out, okay, this is the time that they come around and you're currently consistently making yourself available, recognize that attraction and be honest with yourself. Doesn't mean that you want to leave your spouse or start something new with this new person. Recognize that you need to break that habit. They are attractive. God created some beautiful people, right? Remind yourself that you are powerful and you're more powerful than the situation and you are in control. You should also set some boundaries. These boundaries will protect your heart, will protect your mind and your marriage. Make every effort to not be alone in the same space together with that person or those people. Keep your conversations tight, impersonal. Bring somebody else into the conversation when you're there. Know your weakness and get yourself into a strong point. Have someone else there to support you. No one can say anything went down if it's 5 people around instead of just you and that other person. I will not be one of those, congressional members that someone comes out with some 10, 15, 5-year-old allegations, 2-day-old allegations. No, I'm not the man. So protect yourself, protect your reputation, bring it into the light. There have been times when you probably couldn't seem to shake your attraction to someone. That's gonna take some courage, right? And to have that conversation, but do not wait too long because you need to be brave and notice the problem. anything that you can do, right? Promise to give the honest updates and not be defensive, and make sure that the person supporting you is not defensive. And it doesn't mean that the other person magically turned ugly overnight either, but they had no more room to tempt you, right? Because you put yourself in a place to where you are somewhat protected and you're committed to being honest in your relationship. Another thing, keep a close heart connection with your spouse. Obviously, some of the attraction may be streaming from a lack of connectivity in your marriage, but do what you have to do to prioritize and have an intimate heart connection with your spouse or your partner. Know that it's an opportunity to bring you both closer. It's a conversation that tells your spouse or partner that you care enough about them and the relationship that you're willing to risk them being upset short term for the long term gain of you building that trust. It tells them that you don't keep secrets and that you're on the same team. Being able to declare out loud to your spouse that I choose you and I choose my marriage and I want to have my relationship to be the most blessed and intimate place of connectivity that I could ever encounter. Being attracted to someone doesn't mean that you have to give in and fall in with that level of expectation. Doesn't mean that you made a mistake and married the wrong person. Yeah, there's a possibility that there could be a sign of, disconnect and all of that needs to be addressed in your marriage. But, or you may simply be a normal human that notices other attractive humans. But there is no shame in knowing that you find other people attractive, but you are more powerful than that. You have the power to keep honesty, intimacy, and you have the opportunity to choose your spouse over and over and over again. We know that we don't control attraction. You could be married and find your spouse handsome or gorgeous and everything in between, but yet still find other people attractive. But you need to know that there needs to be a line. And there's a popular saying that goes, I'm married but not blind. Right? Attraction is not only about looks, it's more about the connection. So commitment is important. It's what makes people stay in the relationship that they chose from the start. But saying that there is absolutely no attraction and no struggle, that's not honesty. I don't know where those people are that say, oh, well, I don't really have any attraction to anyone and I don't struggle with that. You know what? Good on you. You're a 5%er. I think the rest of us, definitely, you're in a parking lot, you're in your car or whatever, somebody passes by, beautiful, handsome, right? And they're passing us all the time. It's nothing wrong with saying someone is beautiful there and there's a beautiful person in your presence. But the problem comes is when you pursue, when you give too much attention to it, when you gaze on it too long, when the thoughts start to formulate in your mind. So regulate yourself is all I'm saying. Get yourself into a place to where you know your boundary. I'm gonna recommend, again, I said it earlier, but I'm gonna recommend His Needs, Her Needs. That is an awesome book for relationships. I love relationships. I love love, and I love building and empowering relationships. This is the end of this video, but I have one favor. I want you to get off this video and go tell the person in your relationship that you're the most beautiful thing that I ever seen. And just open up with them about something. It doesn't have to be about your crush, but open up to your partner or spouse about something that you haven't opened up to them about before. All right, that's it. Until the next video, I'll see you next time.